আমার সাথে আজ পারবি না, আমি আজ 5:15 শুয়েছি, 6:35 উঠেছি। এটা খুব স্পিড গো, ইউটিউবে ছটফট করে চলে যাচ্ছে। বাবা হাত দিলেই চলে যাচ্ছে। এই ফ্রেম থাক, ঠিক আছে, ব্যাস চলবে। আরেকটু উঠিয়ে দেবো,
আমার যেদিকে যাচ্ছে সেদিকে ঘুরিয়ে দেবো, নিয়ে চাপ বল কিনতে হবে।
We are also starting with a demo session in the parallel hall. So if somebody is interested, they can also start it. Sir, the address impact of AI in surveillance industry. TP link का है.
यह बड़ा होता है
Ex-Central Council member, ICI, all the way from Mumbai. Please join the dais, and along with that, co-chairman of the IT committee, C. Amit Singhania. Please also come. So I would like to request our past president, C. Vikas Parakji, to please come and felicitate our speaker of the day, C. Anil Bhandari, who is a mentor at ANV, a leading risk advisory services company with offices in 15 countries, serving over 2,000 plus clients and 25 plus years of experience in risk governance and cyber security. He was the past president of Internal Auditors of India. He is also a member of Global Task Force. He was the elected chairman of the ICI WIRC, representing 1 lakh plus members, 2-time elected Central Council member, driving digital transformation for 4 lakh plus members and 1 million students, on key contributor in standards of valuation, internal accounting, fraud and forensic auditing. I welcome sir, and I would request the co-chairman to please give his inaugural address.
এটা
Good morning everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this insightful session on multiple AI tools for CA functions. In today's rapidly evolving digital landscape, artificial intelligence is no longer a
ভীষণ এটা ইসে
it is a powerful reality that is transforming the way
क्या मूवमेंटটা করাতে হবে
from automating routine tasks like data entry and
ঠিক আছে
reconciliation to quantitative risk, tax compliance and financial analysis. AI tools are redefining efficiency and precision in CA firms. The indication of AI is not just about saving time; it's about optimizing decision making, reducing errors, and delivering more values to clients. As we explore the diverse AI solutions available for accounting, auditing, taxation, and compliance, we will gain insight into how these technologies can enhance productivity, mitigate risk, and future-proof CA policy. However, with innovation comes challenges, ethical considerations, data security, and regulatory compliances must also be addressed to ensure responsible AI adoption. With that, let us dive into today's discussion and explore how multiple AI tools can empower CA firms to embrace the future of accounting and
যখন
finance.
ঘুরবে
Thank you.
যখন ওখানে গ্যাদারিং হবে মাঝে মাঝে ওগুলো ঘুরিয়ে নিতে হবে
Now,
যা
I
অ্যানাউন্স
welcome
করতে হবে এখান থেকে
CA
অ্যানাউন্স
Bhandari sir to
সেই যখন করবে তখন দেখবে জাস্ট শুধু ঘুরিয়ে দেবে
ঠিক আছে তাহলে জুমটা এটাই থাকবে
জুমটা থাকবে আমাদের মেন ফ্রেমটা থাকবে
ঠিক আছে
আমাদের ম্যাক্সিমাম যে বক্তব্য রাখবে বক্তব্য এই ডায়াস থেকে বক্তব্য রাখবে তাহলে এই ডায়াসটা জুম করা যাবে যখন দেখলো যে ওখানে গ্যাদারিং হচ্ছে বা অন্য কোনো জায়গাতে বক্তব্য রাখবে জুমটা খালি কমিয়ে দেবে জুম কমিয়ে দিলে জানি কাজটা
বেশি হয়ে গেল
থাক না এটা তো মেন ডায়াসটা ধরে দিল যখন দেখছো যে পাওয়ার পয়েন্ট প্রেজেন্টেশন যখন চলবে তখন জাস্ট ছোটো করে দেবো
members of the DTPA. When I was walking in, I realized that I walked into
তাহলে
the same
এখান
room
থেকে
with
বুমটা
thousands of
ধরেছে
and I think
ধরে
I did come
তখন
for
দেখছো জাস্ট শুরু করে দেবে এটা শুধু আজকে এখন যেহেতু
I thought probably by now the direct tax professionals association has been changed to digital transformation. But thank you so much for inviting me. Are you the first woman? Second. Second is always better because you have something to look forward to. So congratulations to you for a fantastic job. My very old friend Sanjeev, he loves technology, so that's how I connect with Sanjeev for a long time now, almost a decade. And he's always been kind to invite me here. Ravi, again, has been a very good friend. I've had absolutely fantastic friends in the Institute of Internal Auditors in Kolkata. Mr. Aldar, I think, used to be one of your oldest regional council chairmen. I learned a little bit of English from him, fantastic personality. While I was given the topic to talk about tools and technologies that one could use, I slightly changed the topic. Since in the morning, I thought it might not be appropriate to just talk about tools. I've kind of taken it to the 80,000 feet where I'm saying, do we even understand what is expected to come? Do we even understand what we want to do? And then of course you can relate back to tools and technologies, and it's so simple today asking these questions to ChatGPT rather than asking it, me or anybody else. I would like to share my experiences on two conferences that I went to. One was, I think, almost 8 or 9 years back. And this was a conference which is run by Gartner. Gartner runs some of the world's largest technology conferences. And this happened to be in Dubai. And when I walked into the conference, I had an amazing speaker there, Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak is the founder of Apple. A lot of us don't know him. But he's the one who's actually created the core M1 chip, or whatever you call that, the core technology. Steve Jobs was more of a marketing genius, getting it right, productization, so on and so forth. So, and I wanted to relate this to, of course, artificial intelligence that we are on here today. Steve Wozniak was saying that, the human minds are aiming to transcend and cross the borders and limitations of technology. Human minds are crossing the boundaries and the limits and the constraints and trying to innovate in various fields. And what could be the final goal of this technology innovation? Any idea? What could be the final goal of AI, technology innovation, speed, power, energy? What could be the final goal? Quickly, anybody? We'll make an interactive. I just want to pass on a couple of messages. I tried to do my best when I was a chairman and a central council member. I used to go around and say, audit is a dying practice. Today I want to come and tell you, ACCOUNTECH 4.0, accounting will die in the next 5 or 10 years. How it will die, we will talk about it. It will die, literally, it will die. But anyway, I'm saying, what can be the final goal or frontier that would be the breakthrough in technology, artificial intelligence? Anybody, very quickly, one or two. Sorry? Solution.
Economic.
The final goal, what should be our goal? If we are scientists, we want to do something well in life, we want to achieve that artificial intelligence at the nth level, what should be our goal? Who was that? Replacing humans. Right? That's the final frontier. If you look at your body, it's full of science. So the final goal and achievement is, can we not die? Billionaires want to spend money in trying to achieve that. Now, if you look at the progress in the last 50, 100 years, you would notice that amazing progress has been made. For example, in healthcare, otherwise. Your knee does not work, they give you artificial leg. Your heart does not work, they give you transplant, and now they give you pig heart also. Right? If your liver does not work, the liver is transplanted. And the heart has an electrical system of its own. Have you ever realized this? And the energy flows through our body. We don't need a nuclear energy. Is it not the higher form of a nuclear energy? You're generating, you're self-generating energy. So Steve Wozniak was talking about it and he said, can you for a moment imagine your eyes, just before I attended Steve Wozniak, I'd gone to one of the exhibitions. And somebody was sitting there and had AR, VR glasses. Now, of course, everybody knows about it. This was 10 years back. So he made me wear it and he said, would you like to play a game? So I said, sure. So I wore those glasses. And I was standing in front of a television. Well, you don't require a television, but just an experience. So he's put these big glasses, the television is right in front of me. And the game was that I'm supposed to go to the 500th floor and jump. And the experience of that. I said, wow, let's do that. It was amazing. I was walking into a lift, standing in a lift, amazing experience. And I would encourage all of you that when Apple Pro, the what's it called? The Vision, Apple Pro Vision comes here in India, please spend some money to buy it, even if it is $3,000. It's worth to imagine where science will take you. And if you happen to go to US or London or anywhere, just go to that store, take out 10 minutes, go to that store, wear it, experience it. You will realize that we're living in a very different zone. So this gentleman who was making me try it, he came behind me and he held my back. He caught me from behind. So I just turned around, I said, yeah, game kilo, piche se kyun pakad raha hai? Well, they will fall down. So I said, how does that work? He said, don't worry, sir, I'm actually not touching you now, I'm standing behind. When I went to the 500th floor and I jumped, I actually went behind. Why? Because there is nothing in the eyes. Eyes is only glasses. What you see is in your mind. What you see is in your brains. Please ask ChatGPT. It's an amazing curve. Right? Rays come in, transcend, and then mind sees it. And that this is called ACCOUNTECH 4.0. Amazing. So he said, coming back to Steve Wozniak, he said, why don't, and this was full of people, 2,000 people, pin drop silence. He said, can you for a moment imagine your eyes are nothing but the higher form of AR, VR? Well, yes. There is no way that you can say no to that. How do I know that I'm really standing here? This is AI, VR. to the best possible action. Can you imagine when you have a huge deep skin cut, it heals by itself? Even if you don't go to a doctor eventually, unless it is, you know, septic or something, itself. So he's saying that, my friends, we are not even sure whether we are human beings or humanoids. And the way he spoke, of course, he's a guru, he's a scientist. I went out thinking that he's absolutely right. There's nothing in my mind which can think that I'm actually a human being. Human being is a definition for the highest form. A lot of us here would probably not believe it. I don't want to believe it, but the mind races to probably believe it. Right? Because all that you see happening across the world is actually narrowing down in the next 100 years to something like this. So there is some form of intelligence who has created this. The second conference that I went to was again interesting. And these are some pieces which are still missing in artificial intelligence. And these are live conferences. So this was in Singapore, and I had an opportunity to talk to Sophia, the first citizen, whatever, robo, etc. Amazing. She was the one who was giving us keynote speech. Look at the change in the dynamic. They are not calling a chief guest. They're calling Sophia to give a keynote speech. And there are 2,000 people listening to Sophia. Fantastic. And after all the questions, you know, left, right, economics, Trump, this, that, whatever, one Chinese guy, Chinese are, you know, supposed to be as smart as we are and very street smart guys. And one guy got up and said, "Hey Sophia, I want to ask you a question." I said, "Sure, go ahead." And I'm sure you would have seen the YouTube. So, you know, she's kind of like a human being, twitches the eyebrows. He said, if you are walking on a road and you see two persons on the road, one is a small child who's very, very hungry, and the other is a senior gentleman who does not have a leg and, you know, he's also in trouble. And they're both asking you for money, and you have only $5, and they're both asking you for $5. Whom will you give it to? She looks around, left, right, up, down, twitches her. Look at the expressions. She says, "I'm sorry, I can't answer that question." And the Chinese goes, "Wow, like I beat the road." She said, "I can't understand this question because I have not been trained on the emotional intelligence, not emotions, emotional intelligence that the human beings have. And please be guided that I might be able to respond to this in the next 5 years." Amazing. All 2,000 people got up and started to clap. After maybe 2 or 3 years, even today, I'm sure she can answer that. She's just trying to play around. Is it difficult?
4.5 is years.
For 4.5 is here. I'm saying, fundamentally, I want you to just go down a little bit and think, what makes you decide that you want to give it to the kid or you would like to give it to the old gentleman? What would make you decide? I want to just take a survey here. How many would want to give it to the kid? Slowly, a lot of people. How many would like to give it to the old gentleman? 60-40, 50-50. Now, there is a logic behind that. A kid may not survive if he is not eaten. An old person can still manage to survive, for example. And there are various reasons around pros, cons, whatever. And then you have billions of data which is guided by human emotions to say, I would want to give money to either a kid or to an old man. Too difficult. What we raised our hand also is nothing but has been trained in our brains when we are small. Values, we call it values, value systems, what our parents have taught us, what DNA has come to us. We call this as value systems. And these are nothing but training the artificial intelligence that you have in your mind. It's a huge bundle of artificial intelligence sitting there. And that is why people say that you're not even using 5% of, maybe 5 is also much, you're not even using 5% of your things, and which is a fact. So, amazing experiences that has left me to think very clearly in life to say, no, what is the goal in life? Where is it likely to go? And we will look at it now when we try and end this session. of what is the goal when one thinks about accounting. Because we have all come together here, look at ACCOUNTECH, taxation, auditing, all of that. So now I take a couple of minutes to try and talk about what has progressed in the last 10 years in form of artificial intelligence, technology, and then probably try and talk about what is slightly more closer to our hearts. So if I were to kind of look at this,
we lose an acre and a half of forest every second. There goes another one. There goes another one. It's 15 billion trees a year. This drone gives us a way to fight back. This was invented by a company called Biocarbon Engineering. They're in Australia. It is a tree planting drone. It fires a tree bullet into the ground, right? Biodegradable bullet container, soil, nutrient-rich solution, little plant, driven by AI, so it gets fired precisely at the depth it needs to go to, in the exact position it should grow in. This drone can plant 100,000 trees a day. There are an army of 10,000 of them. They can plant 1 billion trees a year. Technology is finally getting to the point where it's making a serious difference in this fight.
what is this likely to change? Your ability to grow trees in the worst patches of this world with a scale of maybe 1,000, 10,000, 50,000 times, which we can't even imagine. The war that is being fought today, we are all seeing 10,000 drones going a day. If I would have spoken to you about this maybe 5 years back, you would have still probably given me a smile. And I'll talk to you about what I spoke here when I was in 2019, just give you a glimpse of, not to forget, what I spoke about. And we would suddenly realize that world in the last 5 years has taken a quantum jump. Now, what did I show you when I came last time? But before that, this is also amazing. Now, I'm not trying to show you a video here. What I'm trying to ask you is,
The world's largest rocket.
what am I trying to ask you here is, how does this change your business? We saw agriculture will go through an amazing change. What will change here? Rockets going up and down, we've all been seeing it, we all associated with all of these technologies on YouTube. How does it connect to us? How does it work for us? What is this likely to disrupt? Anybody? Again, a very quick.
Travel, we can reach America.
Travel, you can reach in 20-30 minutes. Anybody else? Supply chain, transportation, logistics, completely changed. You want something from the US, will reach in 30 minutes here, right? So this is going to be revolutionizing supply chain, transformation, travel of course. We're all connected with travel, but I'm saying what's close to our heart, manufacturing, supply chain, HR accountants, this is destroyed. Destroy shipping maybe? I don't know. Why the hell should I build a ship? Why the hell should I build a ship to go around the world and take 2 months to deliver something? When I can build a rocket. And I can build 5 times the number of rockets, which the money that takes me to build probably a ship. And when it goes into major production, some of these science movies that we see and we give a smile would actually turn into a reality, or is turning into a reality. Right, very useful. Now, I was here in 2019, I don't know if you remember, I tried to show you this robo there. Again, a personal experience. I was in a conference in RSA, which is in San Francisco, one of the largest cyber tech conferences in the world. And I happened to speak to the robo.
Thank everyone at the Academy.
Hey buddy, can I have a selfie with you?
Hi, namaste.
Namaste, how are you?
My name is Santika.
Hi, Ekdam, because I'm here. Can I have a selfie with you? Thank you. Can I have...
Thank everyone at the Academy.
Hey buddy, can I have a selfie with you?
Hi, namaste.
Namaste.
My name is Santika.
Hi, Ekdam, because I'm here. Can I have a selfie with you? Can I have a selfie with you?
So, look, to him and I spoke to him or her or whatever for a long time. But interestingly, even it realizes and it starts speaking in Hindi, and I start conversing in Hindi, this gentleman or lady understands what I am speaking very, very clearly. You see, there is not even a fraction of a delay in what he's saying, right? And when I took a selfie, now we understand selfie, I mentioned this as an example, but selfie was not a word in the English dictionary. It has evolved because iPhone evolved a selfie. But the robo understood a selfie because they have got contextual algorithm built into the robo. What is the context? And that is the same context that you're seeing in ChatGPT today. Contextualizing what you mean, right? When I took, I was actually taking a video. I was not taking a selfie. So the robo comes up and says, hey, you know what? You're taking a video. Fantastic. So it also understands it's not a selfie, it's a video. Just imagine that, right? Now, if we are living in the times like this, right, I think we should be better sitting on holidays and letting the robo probably work for us, right? I don't know what's likely to happen. I don't have a right or wrong answer. But look at the one which is next to the robo. Now, that is the transformation that I'm talking about. From 2019, in the last 5 years, this is looking more and more like a humanoid. And it is actually a bartender.
I don't think everyone at the academy.
Sorry about that, I think there's something. It's actually a bartender, which I think in the nightlife of Kolkata, if you have robots, you'll probably have them as bartenders more often here. And that's the easiest thing to kill. Why would you have a robo bartender? Because he'll mix it just right, which as human beings, we'll probably not be able to mix it just right. But the look and the feel has completely changed in the last 5 years. That is the transformation. So let's look at the next one. This is again, Hugh Thompson is a very well-known guy. Dr. Hugh Thompson is a very well-known guy. He is speaking about artificial intelligence. I will probably send you a link. You might want to take some time at home and understand, because they are all scientists. But I started by saying that I want to, what's the final goal? And then I came to saying that Sophia did not have emotional intelligence. And I don't know how many years it's going to take for them to build emotional intelligence. This conference was also in 2018, yeah, it is 18, 2018, which is almost 7 years before the time. And the people there are discussing, we're discussing artificial intelligence. The people there are discussing what, which is in the next one. I will not take this time. Let me try and see if I can show you this.
Thanks for bringing your friend.
Mr. Spaghetti.
Mr. Spaghetti, okay. Wow, can I touch him?
Oh, please, yes, he likes being touched.
All right,
There's touch sensors. If you put your finger in its mouth.
Okay, that's reasonable. Wow, so tell me about this guy.
So this is one of my favorite robots. It's a Clio. It's basically a toy. They were made, I think, in 2007, and I'm not sure if they even still make them. But what I really love about it is that it mimics life really, really well. And the design is just brilliant. Like, instead of trying to be like a cat or a dog or something that you would immediately kind of compare it to and be like, oh, it's not quite right, it's a baby Camarasaurus. Which, I don't know, have you interacted with a baby Camarasaurus before?
Not to my recollection.
Yeah, so it's like really easy to suspend your disbelief and treat it like a living thing.
Wow, and it's making these little like cooing sounds. Yeah, that is very interesting. And so let me ask about that. I mean, as we get more into AI coming in the form factors of things that we grow emotionally attached, what are the implications of that? I mean, in therapy session, but I'll tell you, I'm having a problem with it, with Siri on my phone. Not personally, not me personally getting attached to Siri, but my 5-year-old is like in love with Siri. He actually tells her, he's like, I love you. And if she tells Siri that, she says like supportive things like, I love you to the moon and back, or you're the back. And so there's like this relationship, even though she can't see. Concerned about that. We can probably talk about that offline. But what are the implications of people assigning human or dinosaur attributes to these devices now?
I think there are quite a few implications, but first of all, I think we're really robots. These technologies are creeping into people's lives in ways that we haven't seen previously, and people are interacting with the technologies. And the thing that I think is really, really fascinating about it is that we're primed by science fiction and pop culture to want to treat these technologies like they're agents, like they're alive, and like they have personalities. And I would say we're even biologically hardwired when it's like a physical thing that's moving in our physical space to want to assign agency to it and intent and so forth. So, people are suckers for these types of design, and I think as more and more creators of this technology catch on to that and start designing interfaces where people interact with the technology, I think we're going to be...
Maybe this might take a little while, but the interesting aspects are, again, people are trying to beat technology frontiers. The design and the interaction systems of the artificial intelligence is getting more and more humanoid, in the sense more and more human prone, right? This robo is a very inexpensive robo, by the way. If you go to US, you will still find it in one of the old toy shops. Now, after this conversation, the robo goes to sleep. Actually puts the head down and it goes. Then she says that, in the next couple of years, humans are likely to develop relationships and emotions with machines. Just imagine when you have a cat and a dog at home, you start loving them. Why? Because they interact with you, they've got eyes, they've got tails, they wag, they come, when you come in, whatever. All of this is likely to perform in more or less a very similar fashion. In spite of the fact that it is a machine, she said, let us put it to test. So this gentleman, who's both a scientist, this gentleman was asked to pick up this robo by the tail. So he picks up the robo by the tail and dangles baby Kamarasor, the toy. And the toy is sleeping. And the toy wakes up and starts grunting like a cat. Once, twice, thrice, and the voice goes up. And then it is loud. As if to say that the machine is in pain. What's the instant reaction?
He will drop it.
Absolutely. He dropped it. He said, I can't bear it now. Right? So, what I'm saying is, this is 2018 and we are in 2025. It may not be hard to think that we might fall in love with robots. Which again takes me back to the same question, the first one that Steve Wozniak said, that are we even, we call ourselves human beings, are we even human beings? So, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the level where the science, technology, automation, machines are meeting together to create a very different flavor. The chartered accountants that you would probably see in these machines are going to be 500 times, 10,000 times, 20,000 times better, right? Which already in some form, currently ChatGPT, you're not seeing it in a robo format, right? You're seeing it in a software robo format, right? So I think this should open up our mind, and it does tell us to take a hard look at what we are doing, what institute is doing, what NAFRA is doing, what government is doing, and sometimes don't even worry about it. It should actually make you think what you want to do, because the world there is this much, and we are struggling with not even this much. So let's take what's happening today. There are different eras. We are actually in an era which is there was an era which was compulsive use of technology. So we had Sabuji who came in and said computerization was made mandatory. People said, no, computers are not useful, blah, blah, blah. We are in the era of an obsessive use of technology. What do you do when you get up in the morning? The first thing that you look at is either a WhatsApp or a team message or a SMS, more or less. Right? We are in an obsessive use of technology era. We are obsessive about it. We can't live without our phone. Maybe as if some billions of dollars are hidden in this phone. We don't even leave it for. All of us carry it to the washrooms. If you can imagine, right? And a lot of us even talk in the washrooms. And most of us actually do WhatsApp in the washroom. We are trying to save time. I mean, amazing. If you come to think of it, it is too much of us. We are likely to be in an immersive use of technology decade, which is going to be 10 years from now, which means we'll be immersing in technology. when we walk, when we talk, when we are in this conference. And again, if you think that you know what I am talking, brings a smile to your face, please go and look at Apple Vision Pro. If your son's kids, anybody's abroad, $3,000. Worth investing. It's not a toy. It's reality which will open up your mind. And you sit in that. You want to have a television. You just blow it up. It's more than a 70 mm television. You want to write an email. You just drag your email on the top. Write an email. Send it on the sides. You tell the AR that make me sit in Antarctica. You're sitting in Antarctica. Believe me, it's almost 85-90% perfect. You want to do your house. Why the hell would you want to call interior decorator? The size of the house is given, just drag and drop. It is likely to decide better sometimes than an interior decorator. And it'll take like only 5 minutes to do that. Right, so let's come closer to our discussion of what do we do as step 1. Look, we are not going to kill all the problem today. We have age, time with us, some people like us, if not with us, age and time with kids. They can do something exceptionally great. But some of us have made reasonable money to be able to figure out, do we want to invest in something which is likely to create a transformation? So I'm saying, for a chartered accountant, when you look at AI, so if you ask ChatGPT what are AI tools, most of the time it comes out with tools like Zero, accounting tools, which has got some AI modules coming in, most of the time. What you would realize is that all of these accounting solutions are trying to do something around the periphery, which you used to do either by Excel sheets or manual. Invoicing, taking out, reading the invoice, data entry. And our friends here are likely to show you some demos of, how do you take out the data. I'm saying on a scale of 10, this is not even at 1. On a scale of 10, this is not even at 1. So our minds as chartered accountants, professionals, lawyers should be thinking, is this even likely to be there? Why the hell do I have to do data entry at all? I understand we've written a fantastic code to take out data and then pump it in the machine, which is very good because we didn't have it. But why the heck do I even want to do that? So you will notice over a period of time that all of this is likely to become more and more productized and automated. You ask for something and you get something. Ask for something and get something. And again, I am not the guru who's saying any of these. I constantly like to get validated. I have, I think, shown this before. I remember, go to World Economic Forum, you get amazing information there. You will realize that professional services is likely to be hit the most. Likely to be hit the most. Chartered accountancy, accounting, lawyer services, taxation, all of that is going to be hit the most. And again, there are a lot of tools. I'll leave this slide for you guys to look at it later. There are a lot of tools which do a lot of work here. But the most important for us to look at is the accounting and audit will have the highest impact. I'm sure all of our Central Council members come talk about it now. But these are international reports published by millions and millions of people, read by them. And they have got a lot of deep research behind all of this. I just tried to show you at 80,000 feet what is there. Now for a moment, let us assume that all that they are saying is right. For a moment. Right? And let us take a step back and think what I said, that they may not be accounting. Forget about auditing. Forget about auditing. I'm saying there will not be any accounting. And you know what? I have a very dear friend, ex-Central Council member like myself, MP Vijay Kumar. I respect him a lot. He's written several standards, not only in India, but internationally. And we talk almost on a monthly basis, and I keep telling him, I will kill your standards one day. I will beat your standards, I will kill it. You don't require standards. Why do you need audit accounting standards, anybody? Huh? Standardization, fantastic. By the way, I'm also appointed by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and I happen to be a tribunal member under the Chartered Accountants and the Company Secretaries Act, so I listen to disciplinary cases. And I listen to these standards when people bring up, etc. I did as per the standards, etc. And we try to figure out in our mind whether right, wrong, etc. Standardization. Why do you need standardization? Uniformity. Maybe 50 years back, or maybe 75 years back, we didn't have red, yellow, and green lights on the streets, the traffic lights, right? But again, somebody said that we need to standardize it. So they standardized red, yellow, green, standardized across the world. Even if you have a small kid today, after maybe 1 year, he knows what a red is and he knows what a green is, more or less. More or less. It gets embedded in you as you grow because the standardization has reached a level where it becomes a part of your daily routine. It gets embedded in what you do. So now let us ask you this question again. Why do you need standards? You need it then, there's no doubt about it. Why do you need them now? Give me one complex accounting entry. Foreign exchange, maybe. Large banks. Derivatives, maybe. Yes, could be. E-commerce is also okay because you buy and sell. Telecommunication CDRs are also okay now because you've got the technology to assimilate it. But maybe somewhere where there are a lot of complexities in different regions, different locations. But let's come down a little bit. Maybe a little bit of e-commerce as well across the world. Yes. Let's come down a little bit. Inventory, what you bought, what you're selling on a daily basis, expenses. 90% of us do that. 95% of us do that. Do you do a complex FX transaction? Do you see a complex FX transaction in your balance sheet that you create or accounting systems that you create? No. For those, how many variables do you have? For a capitalization, how many variables do you have? 1, 2, 3, ये कितने रुपए का माल है, 5,000 के नीचे depreciate कर दो, 5,000 के ऊपर है, long term contract है, short term contract है, whatever it is. How many variables do you have? 3, 4, 5? Why do you even need to put your mind on this? And again, I am not saying this. We went to meet the ex-SEBI chairman, not the lady, Madhuri Bush, but the SEBI chairman before that. And he literally smirked at us, myself and Mr. Nilesh Vikram, he was a president at that time. He said, what do you mean by true and fair? You are giving an opinion. Nilesh Bhai said, look, our chartered accountants are giving true and fair opinion, etc., etc. There are a lot of issues which come up in the balance. I said, what do you mean by true and fair? He's an IAS officer. He said, what do you mean by true and fair? I really want it to be correct. There's nothing like true and fair today. Every transaction can be looked at by the computer system. What is sampling you're talking about? What is true and fair you're talking about? I want it correct. What does correct mean?
Without any error.
Without any error. Where is the opinion? Where is this chartered accountancy opinion that we are likely to form when somebody is expecting correctness? And somebody is expecting correctness because the era, it's not because he is very smart and he is expecting correctness. It is because the era, technology has made it perfect. So, we had the executive director of a bank saying, huge transactions, billions of dollars, accuracy is 100%. UPI, you're expecting the accuracy to be 100%, right? So in an era like this, why do you need standards? And for example, if you don't need single book accounting system, right? I still believe it was the best system in the world. I go and argue with MP Vijay Kumar. He said, no, accrual is amazing, it helps us to do this. I said, पढ़ता कौन है accrual को? पढ़ता कौन है? जो स्टॉक मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करता है वो भी नहीं पढ़ता है, जिसको पढ़ना चाहिए, राइट? हम बनाते हैं, हमको नहीं समझ में आता है. अगर वो इन्फोसिस की बैलेंस शीट है, डेफिनेटली समझ में नहीं आती है. मुझे तो नहीं आती है. Maybe I'm not a good accountant. Eventually आप देखते क्या हो? कैश फ्लो देखते हो पहले कंपनी कैश फ्लो देखते हो. Eventually, right? I was running a workshop in Surat, trying to do AI and trying to recommend what will be the opening price of Reliance Industries on Monday. We were doing a fun job, I have that open in my and I use ChatGPT for that. So what I'm trying to say is that there is, just imagine a world where Modi ne kari diya, electronic invoices ho gaye. Just imagine a world where this electronic invoice is a piece of, a lot of people here like us, and I'm sure you're going to see the session on Python coding or whatever. Why does it even have to be a very form? It is a small piece of code. It keeps traveling. And the small piece of code keeps traveling, and you do yes, and the accounting happens, and it goes to the bank, automatically the payment is made. There is going to be likely to be no accounting entry. So the single bookkeeping translated into double bookkeeping, and the institute was very proud to do it for the railway system. But I am saying वो जमाना हो गया बॉस, अभी वापस single entry पे आ गए हम लोग. What is SAP system by the way? Do you operate on SAP systems? There is no debit and credit. You do a transaction, it is debited and credited, which means the accounting solutions are a canvas. There is an engine for debit and credit, and the balance sheet and the financial statements that you are trying to see is nothing but visualizations, the way you want to see it. So India says I want to see it like this. I don't want IFRS, for example. US says I want US GAAP because both alag smart hai, hum alag smart hai. The world wants to see it differently, right? It's like a Power BI and 80,000 feet. It's like a Power BI, right? So you put a visualization layer, you pick up XYZ automatically and visualize it. In the press of a button, you should be able to see a US GAAP, IFRS, Indian GAAP in 5 minutes with this technology. So you don't need any accounting solution. Unfortunately, even the accounting solutions that you have today do not create the final profit and loss account, balance sheet and the financial statements that you publish. They do not. They just generate the profit and loss account to you. It's more like a ledger account. So, having said this, I strongly believe that at least in the next 5 or 10 years, you will see an amazing progress in this getting completely delinked, and there would probably be, accounting would get embedded, it will become a social science, people will do what is required to be done, entry will be made the way it is supposed to be made, it will become more and more rule-based, it will become less and less principle-based, and you will then not have accounting. It would have, of course accounting is happening, but then you would not have accounting. You know, you wrote codes in C, C++. C++ is there, it's not that it's not there. But you created layers on that, .NET, Java, Python, those are layers. So you will not see them tomorrow. You will only see maybe a ChatGPT writing balance sheet, right? But of course, somewhere deep embedded is those principles that we have evolved 200 years from now. So I think, well, I would want to touch upon in the same breath, on what becomes difficult now, whenever human decision is involved, internal auditing, business processes, right, legal, regulatory, where again some mind is required. All of that is also becoming more and more rule-based over a period of time, more and more rule-based. So I think we should look at we should have a very hard look before even thinking what is happening, what we like, what we don't like, what NAFRA is trying to do. Somebody came and said, what is this NAFRA trying to do? It's trying to create another institute. I said, be my guest. Let them create another institute because it will not last for the next 10 years. If the standards are not likely to last, what will NAFRA come and do? And if given a choice, I'll go and tell the government that, bhai, band karo na isko yaar, make it rule. Right? Aapko 4 opinion dena, 4 pe opinion dete, baki sabko rule kar do, make our life simple, their life simple, we'll have something else to do. What do we get out of this is the final frontier. As chartered accountants, as professionals, we have spent hundreds of years gaining experience, standardizing something, productizing something, getting it right. We understand business. That's our job. Now, understand it and make it more and more bucketed to be able to react back with all of this embedded below what you're looking at. That opportunity is worth billions and billions of dollars, one you can't even imagine. You know, there was a time when we lost a lot of business on Sabun, Soxy 2, all the big four, all the TCSs, Wipros of the world. कर रहे थे हमारा काम 50 ट्रांजैक्शन उठा के टेस्ट करते हैं उसको बोलते हैं Sabun, Soxy का टेस्ट. Right? That is our job. We've been doing auditing for years. I am saying, please don't miss out on this opportunity. Please don't miss out on these kind of opportunities because now you're standing on a cusp of a major change and a major breakthrough for seniors and juniors alike. So I thought, let me come here in the morning and try and see if I can not do much, but open up your mind so that the day that you have flows in the context of who's presenting what. And you probably realize what is likely to come in the next 1 year, 2 years. Prepare yourself for what is likely to come in the next 5 years, 10 years, because so that you're not met with a shock to say that, you know, we had no idea that this was likely to happen. So I think a lot of things are likely to happen. You're going to have rules, regulations. You're going to have rules and regulations for AI. A young Indian girl from my office has gone to US for masters. So she created a product on only AI security, which means हम AI को कुछ पूछते हैं, हमको बॉम्ब बनाना है, उसको जवाब देना चाहिए कि नहीं देना चाहिए? नहीं देना चाहिए, right? Those are called the AI safeguards, right? So people are building tools and technologies for AI safeguards because we understand logically what should come and not come, right? Sometimes better than the engineers. So there are, of course, thousands and thousands of tools. I don't want to get into that. I'm saying if you take any tool, it will actually be trying to do what I've told you in the last 20, 30, 40 minutes, right? I think this is a slide I always like to repeat. This is my last slide for chartered accountants. I'm saying kill your business, give to the next best person that you have in your office. Think product, repeat model faster. See, anything that you do in the office should be repeatable. Anything. If you know how to make a balance sheet, it should be repeatable. The next balance sheet should come out in 15 minutes. If you do that, you have the right model. Otherwise, you will never be out of that business, right? Automate and productize it and finally learn to sell. And Sanjeev said that, networking, all of those are very, very important because eventually the ability to sell is something that we as chartered accountants and professionals don't have. And that is something that we should really build up. And that's simple, articulating what you're doing basically, nothing more, nothing less. So I think learn to adopt the fast changes because world will not be the same if you don't want to change it. I must just want to say that, I started my chairmanship in the Western region talking about all of this. People used to really smile. In fact, I lost my Central Council election also because of this, the third term. I've been the Central Council member for 2 terms. Nobody wants a Central Council member who goes in talking about tax nahi hoga, GST nahi hoga, invoice nahi hoga. तो किसको चाहिए Central Council member? बोले बॉस आज का खाना खिला दो, 10 साल के बाद मेरे बच्चे कर लेंगे. Which is a fair thing. I don't have a right or a wrong answer to that, of course. But I learned this through experience of traveling. I traveled 25 days in a month across the world. And believe me, today what we have in India, not many people across the world have. Believe me that. We're far better, superior in terms of mind, in terms of culture, in terms of values. When we go to US, Europe, we are a very different country nowadays. We are now absolutely cracking up our position. But it will not help us if we still think about reconciliation kaise karu, right? If we still think about services, it had its era, right? We did amazing technology services business for 60 years. It's now trying to productize it. So if we don't do this now, then we start losing out the opportunity that we had. And then probably we'll come to know after 10 years, by the time our generation is off and the kids will have to pay. So well, thank you so much for your patient listening. Really appreciate it. I don't know if we have time for 1 or 2 questions. We could probably take 1 or 2 quick questions. Please.
Sir, whatever you have told, absolutely it's fine. But again, the proper solution that today I am a 40-year-old chartered accountant, and if I see my active career is for next 20 years. So what should be planned for me? If someone is at 30, what should be planned for him? And someone is just newly qualified, what should be the plan for him? If you can come out with some courses or some
it's a fantastic question.
not today, any point
it's
of
on
time.
everybody's mind. It's on everybody's mind that what do I do at this point in time, and what should be my reaction to whatever I'm doing, etc. And how do I evolve into this so-called world which looks to be brilliant, but what is my role? How do I go there, etc., etc. The last slide is what I'll take you back to. I will first ask you to kill what you're doing. First, is our mindset geared up to kill what you're doing? 90% of the time, our mindset does not want to do it. Our mindset is concrete audit छोड़ने का नहीं होता, right? Unfortunately, again, good or bad, I don't have a right answer for that, right? But my experience has taught me leaving something for a larger goal has always benefited. When I started my practice in 2000, I had no idea about technology, but I went and told everybody मैं technology करता हूँ. And believe me, मैं नहीं करता था. मैं सीख रहा था. Right? So somebody got up and said that because he liked me the way I spoke, तो सोचा उसने कि शायद ये अच्छा concurrent audit कर लेगा. So he said, I want to give you concurrent audit. I want to give you branch concurrent audit. So I said, sorry sir, but I don't understand concurrent auditing. I understood it, of course, very well. I've written several standards on Institute of Internal Auditors, blah, blah, blah. Even valuation standards here, cyber security standards. So I understood it. But, so I said, I don't do that, sir. He was shocked. He said, यार 30,000 रुपया मैंने कब मिल रहा है? मेरे पास में बड़े-बड़े चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट की फाइल आती है नोट की चेयरमैन से. ठीक है, भूल गए, मैं भी भूल गया. 1 साल के बाद बुला. Well, I want you to do the CPC का audit. CPC is a centralized processing zone. I had no idea what CPC was. Right? Because मेरे mind में technology चल रही थी. So I said, sir, I don't do sir. वो CPC नहीं करता. 1.5 लाख रुपए का audit है यार. ऊपर से phone आते हैं हमको देने के लिए. Just because we like the way that your firm is coming up. I said no. Finally, after 2 years, he called me and said, एक बहुत बड़ी फायर है, मेरे को टेक्नोलॉजी ऑडिट करवाना है फॉरेन एक्सचेंज डिपार्टमेंट का. वाह, दैट आई सेड दिस आई वांट टू डू. ये सर आपने किया है क्या? ये बाय केपीएमपी का दूसरा कोटा है. आई सेड किया नहीं है, बट प्लीज गिव इट टू मी एंड आई मेक श्योर दैट आई डू माय बेस्ट. आई विल किल इट. एंड वी किल्ड इट. सो गॉट मोर मनी आल्सो एंड गॉट व्हाट आई वांटेड टू डू. सो फर्स्ट थिंग इज प्लीज रियलाइज दैट यू नीड टू किल योर प्रैक्टिस. Second thing is realize that you should create a product out of anything and everything that you're doing. Now, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm saying anything that you're doing. And if you don't find the ability to create a product in what you're doing, then my suggestion is get out of that. Because today, in India, fortunately we have a lot of opportunities. आप जाके एक बिल्डिंग बनाओगे तो भी आप 500 करोड़ की बिल्डर बन जाओगे. इतनी अपॉर्चुनिटी, not because बिल्डर खराब है या whatever, opportunities are lot. आप जाके आप लोन दिलाते हैं दूसरे को, आप जाके एक फैक्ट्री डालोगे तो भी फैक्ट्री बन जाएगी 500 करोड़. Because the time is right today, fortunately for us. So productize it. Again, I'll take an example. I do a lot of work in cyber tech. Somebody was asking me, how did you get into, I think Sandeep was saying, how did you get into cyber tech? I was doing technology controls. So I went a little deeper. I said, यार ये technology control तो मैं रोज कर रहा हूँ, मैं तो manually कर रहा हूँ. So why don't I write a tool and make somebody write it to do a better and a faster job? Try to productize it. So my people came and told me that boss, you're killing your practice. We've got 20 people who are doing that, and you're saying आप tool बना दोगे तो वो तो 5 मिनट में कर देगा. तो ऐसे ठीक है यार, कर तो लेते हैं पहले, because मैं नहीं बनाऊंगा तो कोई दूसरा बना देगा. So we created a tool in cyber tech, and look at that. We killed that. We lost that business.